Let the people hear that voice.
Damn, when you hear that name.
It was a proud moment for the Asian culture.
I just looked in the mirror and I accepted myself.
Yes. Please, I beg you, cut it out. Welcome to Brit Asia TV's Behind the Music. My guest on the show today is Happy Singh. He's a singer, rapper, music producer, songwriter, and one of my favorite people that I've worked with ever. Welcome to the show, Happy.
Hey, my brother, thank you for having me, bro.
How you doing, bro? How's it going?
I'm doing well. I just got back from Mexico not that long.
I saw that on your story, man. It looked amazing. Like the location was dope. Like, were you just filming out there for your song? Was it your record or?
It's actually a song that I'm doing with Monj Music from, if you guys know who RDB was. I actually grew up listening to this guy, so to actually in Cancun and one of the nicest out in Mexico, and to be working with him was an honor, man.
Wow, it looked just looked amazing. I can't wait to see the video. Thanks again for coming on the show. I wanted to kind of like talk to you like about your history in music. Let's take it back to your childhood. Like, were you always like wanting to do music? Like, how did you get into it?
I've always wanted to do music. I just didn't know how.
Right.
So I feel like, I took it really like step at a time. I never just, they always say when you want to check how deep the water is, always put one foot in, never put both. So that's what I always did. I just, found my niches as I went. You have a beautiful voice. I love using auto-tune, and I didn't know how to get auto-tune or where it existed before. Yeah. So when it finally did come in front of me, then I was like, hey, I can be an artist, So it was kind of like one step at a time. And before I was wanting to be an artist, I was actually a music producer.
Wow. And like, do you come from a musical like family? Like, what was like the inspiration to get into music? Was it just like, I know you said you was a producer, but did you have like a family member that was really like pushing you, or did you have like support from friends that were like, you gotta do this, I've actually,
what's crazy? Like my dad loves music, right? My dad has like that little radio they sell on, ZTV. It has like all of Lata Mangeshkar's like songs like that, So he's like really into like oldies and stuff. He's always playing music and he's always singing with music. And my mom is like the religious one. So I have a balance of both worlds, the spiritual world and like the musical world. So my dad, like, as I was growing up, I would see him and he would buy like a piano for himself and he'd be playing the piano. Like, he didn't know how to play the piano, but he just liked music. So he would just put it on and I would watch him. And I feel like when I saw him do it, I was like, well, that's kind of cool. Like, and I was young, I was like 8, 9 years old, And that's when I kind of like, I started saying like, oh, it's okay to do music. Cause like, obviously if your parents do it, then you're like, oh, it's okay to do it,
Yeah.
Some people, they feel like the musical world is like a dark world and stuff. So, seeing my parents do it, and I kind of like stepped into that. And friends wise, absolutely. I actually have a lot of friends that have a lot of like that push me towards this. I have like, a lot of Indian friends, a lot of Hispanic friends, a lot of my like Armenian friends, a lot of my best friends, somebody did something to always make sure that I was going forward.
Right. And you said you started off as a music producer. Were you working,
yeah.
who were you producing for at that time then? Were you working with people? Were you signed then?
I was never signed. I was just producing and getting my music out there, just giving my beats for free to everyone. I did get noticed by Mike Lynn, who was from Dr. Dre's camp. He found like Bruno Mars and Eve and stuff. So he found me and he's like, hey, you're really dope. Like, kind of took me under his wing. And, I would do competitions and stuff here and there, and I would win. I would win like first place and stuff. It would be cool. And that would make me keep going because I'm like, wow. Oh, there's something there.
Yeah.
But I feel like my calling was not just to be a producer. So that's why as I was pushing to be a producer, it never fully I didn't fully reveal who I really was. And so, but I did produce for Ink Monster. I did produce for, my partner Ghost Kaysen, he worked for Murder Inc. So he did all of like Ja Rule stuff. So he had a lot of he took a lot of my beats in. We just sold them to a lot of artists and stuff to give them out. Yeah.
Wow. And when did you like decide to be like, okay, you know, I'm a producer. I want to be an artist. Like I want to transition from, you know, from being that producer to an artist. Like, cause you sing and you rap, you do everything, bro. So how did you like? Did you have to learn that from scratch, or were you like learning as you were producing? Like, were you recording people as well? Like, you know, like were you learning and you know, or were you just like, ah, nah, I want to be an artist, you know?
No, I didn't ever wanted to first be an artist. I was too scared. It's too much pressure. You know, at that time where I was in my life, I couldn't. I was already critiquing like myself too much, kind of being hard on myself. So I would record other people, and so I did buy a mic. I did buy a preamp and everything, the whole studio setup, but it was to record other people. I never recorded myself, and I would sometimes play around with it, but I wouldn't take myself serious because I'm like, I mean, Drake was out at that time. He was hot. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, I'm far from this guy right now. Like, I'm just going to stick to producing, you know? But just like I practiced in producing, I started practice being a vocalist and a rapper and an artist. And every time I wrote a song, I write a better song, a more lyrical song, better melodies. And next thing you know, I just started becoming a better artist as well.
And did you did you work on an EP or an album, or like what was the process like for when you actually, you know, was like, oh, I'm gonna do this? And then what did you do? Did you do a mixtape, or how did that come about?
I actually met a rapper out in Cali. Me and him made a team, and we called ourselves 3%. And he was like the rapper, and I was the singer, and I would produce the beats. And we dropped our first EP, and that's when we first opened up for Tyga, Jeremiah, Yo Gotti, Wiz Khalifa. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is my first EP. I'm opening up for these big artists. Like, there's something there. And that's when I knew that, like, this, I was running from something that I was always supposed to do. And so after I dropped that EP, I dropped a couple more singles, and then I met my team from Urban Asian. And they took me under their wing, and they're like, hey, we love what you're doing, but what if you just throw some Indian flair in there? And I'm like, you know, I do speak my language very fluently, but I've never tried to, you know, lyrically put words together and make them rhyme and stuff. I'm like, that's a challenge, but I took it. I took the challenge, and then I dropped an EP with DJ Upside Down, which was last year in January. And here we are now.
That was a dope record as well. I remember that. I remember hearing Nakare, and I was like, yeah, this is dope. Like, you know, and yeah, I remember like, you know, Aman telling me from Urban Age, like just about you, and he sent me some of your work, and I was like, wow. You was like, you just have something, like, you know, when you could tell when you hear a song, and you know your melodies, the way you flow, like, you know, it's yeah, you definitely, I was like, wow, this guy's amazing, like, you know, and I couldn't wait to meet
Thank you.
So going back to like, you know, your first, you know, shows that you're doing, like, you know, you said that you people were like coming to you and be like, oh, like, you know, this is, you know, taking you seriously, and you know, not everyone can support artists like, you know, Tyga, and open up for these kind of, like, were they like your first shows, and you know, for performing wise, I guess, you know, you was a producer, and then going to perform you know, big shows, I guess, you know, was that how easy was that for you? Because obviously you have to have like confidence as a performer. Like, did that come natural to you?
Okay, so when I was a producer, I was also under the influence a lot. And then I kept kind of drowning myself, you know, in alcohol, and I would kind of like make myself feel scared so I wouldn't move forward. It was weird. Like, I was manipulating myself in a way to not be successful or something. I was scared to be judged. I was scared that, you know, I would be hurt then. And if people don't like me, then I would really like probably go in deep depression. But as I sobered up, that's when I decided to be an artist. And I said, you know, I need to do this. If I really want to do this, I got to do this sober, because if I really love it, then I should enjoy every moment. It's a journey, you know, it's something I should remember for the rest of my life. And the day I made that decision to being an artist, 6 months later is when I first opened up for Tyga.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I had to confirm that with myself. I didn't need nobody else to confirm that for me. And that's the thing. That's what held me back those other 10 years. I was waiting for confirmation from other people and I never got it. But it took those 10 years to finally tell myself, hey, you're going to live this life. Do you want to do this? Like, you know, and when I made that decision, it changed my life.
I mean, you openly talk about your addictions and, you know, in the past and, you know, like, what was that like going through that at a young age? And like, was it hard to be open? Like, you know, you did a documentary as well, right? You was very open about that. I mean, I can't imagine that must have been hard for you, but you know, you did talk about it. Like, why did you choose to talk about it? Like,
I choose to talk about it is because I didn't go through it to hide it. I went through it to share it. Like, if we share our mistakes with each other, we help each other grow. You know, if it's like, if I mess up and I'm also letting you know, hey, I went through it and you might be going through it. Because when I was going through it, I thought nobody else is going through what I'm going through. I wish I had a documentary or somebody to see like, hey, man, I've been through this, you know? So I want to share it with as many people as I can, especially knowing the fact that like our brown people do have a, you know, drinking problem in a way. So I don't know how many of them are stuck like I was, you know, and I just felt like I needed to, you know, let people know that I've been through it and I got out. Because a lot of people say, oh, like I was the worst of the worst. Like if you meet my friends and my family and everybody, they'll tell you like I was the one who like I was just the craziest one out of everybody. And for me to go on that side of the world and then turn around and be like, hey, that's not for me, like it blew my mind away. And I'm like, so if I can change, anyone can change. Because I was the last to change. I was married to the bottle. I was, you know, I love drugs. It just made me feel comfortable. And that's sad because that means I was not comfortable in my own skin, you know? And so I realized, I just looked in the mirror and I accepted myself. I started loving myself. And from that day on, I was like, you know what? I don't need this stuff anymore, you know?
wow. I think, you know what, like you being South Asian and, you know, just in general in our culture, it's very taboo. We don't talk about that. And for the fact that you actually openly spoke about it, I think it's such a game changer, man. It was just like incredible to see that you were being so honest. Do you see, like, do people approach you then? You know, since you made that documentary and you talked about yourself, like what you went through, do people come up to you and say to you, wow, I've been through this. Thank you for, you know, sharing your story?
On Instagram all the time. People always DM me. Their demons might not be drugs and alcohol. It might be other stuff. So, because we're all battling something, right? We're all living life and we're all going through something. So, I think we choose what we want to go through. So I started choosing, instead of battling addiction, I wanted to battle my, you know, journey in life. I'm like, hey, why am I battling something I don't need to battle? I'd rather battle me trying to be an artist. I'd rather see how, you know, actually become. So I kind of transferred my energy from the negative stuff to the positive stuff. I'm still going through something. I'm still gonna, you know, have challenges in life, but they're the challenges I choose to have now, you know? Yeah, so back to like the people that hit me up, the documentary, just, it's crazy. It's not even just like Indian people, it's different types. And some people say, thank you for being vulnerable. That helps me to be open with other people. Or thank you for, you know, sharing your story. Like my cousin's going through something, like, what do you recommend? Like it's real stuff. It's a real problem. And it's hard to tell people you need help, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And you know, your experiences and what you've been through in your life, do you put that in your music then? Do you sing about it? Do you rap about it? Like, do you put that in your, like, you know, like the experiences that you've had? Because I guess it's real, isn't it? And when you talk about something like that, it connects to people. So is that what you
Yeah.
do, like from your experiences?
I try my best. I try my best to okay, so people feel like you can if you party you drink. That's not true. I love to be around people. I love to be around happy people. Like I love weddings. Like it's such a positive happiness like place to be at. You know what I mean? So you don't have to drink. I mean, a lot. Everyone around me drinks, so and everyone controls it. So I don't have nothing against it. But if I see someone that has an issue, I will nicely confront them and ask them if they need help or why they're drinking so much, just to kind of let them know that I see that they have a problem, and I kind of mess with their head. So when they go home, they're like, "Damn, do I really have a problem?" You know. But when I put it in my music, man, like I love making party music. And then I make it without saying, you know, I turn up without turning up. You know what I mean? So I do put it in my music. My last album that I dropped, One Step Closer, I did talk about a lot of my dark times, but I put them in a positive way. I met a really dope a writer that you introduced me to, Candace, and she actually told me, you know, why don't you write about your story? And I said, because my story is dark. Well, she's like, well, you're not in those dark times anymore. So why don't you make it, you know, a positive like impact, like show people that you came out of it. And my whole album, One Step Closer, was based on that.
Wow, what an amazing story.
Yeah.
So what's your writing process like then? Like how do you write? Like, you know, do you have the beat first and then you write your lyrics over that, or do you come up with the melodies? Like what's the process like for you?
I usually find the beat first, and I usually try to be in a good mood when I write music, because when I'm in a happy mood, it just flows. It's so easy. But if I'm in kind of a down mood, I'll still try to cook, because every feeling has a feeling in the music, you know what I mean? So it's a song for every emotion you're in. So I'll usually find the beat, and then very rarely, but it happens, I'll write the lyrics. Like I'll be out and I'm just writing lyrics, and I'll come home and I'll just open up like YouTube, find a YouTube beat, and the lyrics will fit perfectly. And I mean, like, I freak out, because I'm like, wait, like I just wrote this without even knowing what the beat was gonna sound like. So honestly, like my process normally is find a beat, write to it, but I still try everything else. I write sometimes without the beat as well.
Nice. And are you involved in your video? Your videos are so cool, bro. Like I watched them. Like, yes, they're so sick. Like for Dakar, like how did you come up with a concept? Like even your single cover, you had the receipt, right?
Yeah.
Like that was such a sick idea. Like what do you like, you know, do you have influence in your videos? Like, do you put the ideas together as well?
Actually, for that one, I didn't. That was all the director's idea. Raghu directed that one. It was shot by Hector Toro and Raghu, or he goes by Rags. And he pretty much he heard the song I performed at one of his events at Pop Shift. And when I performed it, he just had the idea. And he came up to my managers and he's like, yo, I had this dope idea, like of him being in a grocery store, and like, cause I used to work for my dad and stuff. So he's like, why don't we make it look like he's working for his dad, but he really wants to party. So he actually came up with the whole idea, but it was based on my life story.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
mad. And you was dancing in it as well, bro. Like I really I think it was just such a cool concept. Like I've never really saw anything like that before. So I think that was really, really dope, man. So you said your parents, like, were they supportive in you, like, you doing music then? Were they always like, you know, what do they think of their son now? Like, you know, smashing it now, bro, like doing all these, like releasing music and doing the videos and gigs.
They're proud of me. I think they're waiting to see me on PTC Punjabi while they're watching this. You know? They're waiting for that, but they're happy. They in the beginning were kind of like skeptical, because it's kind of like, hey mom, I'm going to be an astronaut kind of thing, you know, like being a musician is pretty it's a tough career to have. But you know, I knew like I just really wanted to do it, so whatever it came with, and I was able to prove them that I could do it without, you know, the only reason they didn't like it is because I always was under the influence in the beginning. So they were always scared. They're like, you're going to be around drugs, alcohol, temptations, like, and you're so weak, you're quick, you'll be the first to start. And I think there's a reason why I went through it first. So now I don't have to worry about it.
Right, and do you know what? Honestly, bro, you are so consistent. You consistently put music out. You know, we always see like there's a lot of artists that come and go, they drop a couple of singles and they disappear. What's your, like, how do you keep it consistent? Like, do you think that's like, you know, really important? Like, how do you consistently drop music? Because when I was, you know, see your Instagram, like you're dropping an EP like every week and a few, you know what I mean? Like you're just constantly busy, bro. So how do you maintain that?
Honestly, I feel like we're at a time, like back in the days, you can drop an album and let that thing ride for 4 years. But now there's so many artists, there's so much competition. If you're not dropping songs, like you will get left behind. People will forget you because there'll be another artist taking your spot. And us as artists, we're so hard on ourselves. Like people don't understand how hard it is to be an artist. Like we spend months and months and years on ourselves, on our music, just to get one comment saying this music sucks, you know? And it shatters us. So it's hard to be an artist. So just because there's so much competition and stuff, I feel like I have to be on top. I have to be dropping, you know what I mean? Whether it's American or urban community, I just want to just stay on top and just keep dropping and just make sure that I don't get left behind or forgotten in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you feel like what you've been through, your focus on music is like, you know, because I've been in the studio with you, like I know you're so driven, bro, and you're like, you come up with melodies so quick and just your work ethic, I think it's incredible to see that and just to be around you. Like, do you think what you went through is kind of kept you more focused on, you know, this music and, you know, you're like, right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be constantly like releasing music.
Absolutely, bro. I know what is happening and it's honestly, it's all God that's doing everything, bro. And I'm so thankful for him. But everything that's happening, like, I know they're all blessings, so I have to stay on top of it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be like, oh, like, everything's good. Like, I'm going to sleep in now, and I don't need to make music for the next 5 months. Like, no, like, now is the time. And even when it gets more and more, it's just more and more work. You know what I mean? There's no rest, but that's the thing. Like, I love it so much, I don't need the rest. Like, it's just all, like, adrenaline rush, you know? It's so much fun.
And how did you meet Upside Down and Urban Asia? How was that? How did that come about?
Oh, I met him through my last partner.
Right.
And so I was doing English stuff with him, and he's like, "Hey, like, you're Punjabi and they're Indian. Why don't you guys like link up and do some music together?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." And so when he brought me to their house, and I was just like, "Whoa, like this dude does songs with like Mickey Sing, and I've heard of him, and that's cool, you know, so let's work." And then when he played his music, DJ Upside Down just blew my mind away. I was like, bro, I can't write to this. I don't even know where to start. Like, your beats are crazy. So like he slowed it down a little bit for me. He made it more mainstream. And then, you know, I think Nakra was the first track we did. Like he produced it in front of me in like 10 minutes, and I just started writing to it. And we had Nakra, bro. And then we dropped, 4 or 5 songs like the week after. We recorded everything. And that's how I met them, bro. It was through my last partner, man.
Stop. And is there, like, you know, you've collaborated with a lot of people. Is there an artist that you kind of like really feeling right now? There's an artist like out there that's either Desi or mainstream. Is there an artist that you really want to work with and collaborate with? Drake. I can hear you on a record with Drake.
Yeah, I feel like I want to be the first Indian artist that does a song with Drake that brings out that Indian flair. You know, and I know there's Nav, I know there's Jay Sean, I know all that, but they sing in English and they rap in English. I want to be able to do the Punjabi scene with Drake first.
And like, were you, you know, you said that you was doing the whole, you know, kind of like urban hip hop stuff and going into doing the whole fusions music. Like, was that like, did you know about the scene before? Like, did you know about that, the Asian industry, like that there was that it existed? Like, did you know about? Obviously you're South Asian, but like, you know, coming from a different kind of musical background, did you know of all the artists? You didn't?
I did not.
Wow. Yeah.
I knew Jazzy B existed, Shinder Shinda. I knew RDB existed. Lember, you know, a couple of UK people like, man, like, no, I didn't know all this. Like, as soon as I stepped in, it was a whole different world. But it's cool because everyone's so united. Like, I'm getting more love from my people than American. You know what I mean? I feel like our Indian people have more of a connection with me because we all kind of have the same growing up. You know, our parents are strict and want us to do good. So for them to see me doing this, like, I feel like I can connect with them and be like, hey, bro, like, or, you know, to the girls and the boys, like, it's okay. Like, you can do what you want in life. And they're actually supporting me like crazy. So it feels great to be repping my people, you know?
Yeah. And obviously you're based in LA. You've come over to the UK, you've done a few shows. What's the difference? Like, obviously there's a big community, South Asian community in America, and you've done shows here and over there. Have you seen a difference?
Dude, your guys' community is like how Hispanics are in Los Angeles. Like, I want to say hi to every Indian person that was there because you don't see them out here like that. You see somebody Indian out here, like, you have to say hi because you don't know when you're going to cross paths, you know, with another one. But out there, they just look at you and they're just like, okay, there's another Indian person, you know?
Like, yeah, so, you see them everywhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's crazy. So what's next for you then? I know you just shot a music video with Manj. Are you gonna drop another album? Are you gonna drop another single? Like, what have you got next coming up?
I just shot actually 2 videos last week.
Wow. See what I mean? You just don't stop, bro.
Yeah. So just before we went to Mexico, I shot 2 videos out here, and then, you know, me and Manj might be dropping an album. And everything's just in the works right now, bro. It's just I'm literally sitting on music right now, and the vibes are all different. You know, I don't want to just make one song and be like, this works, I'm gonna keep doing this. I want to give variety to people. You know, hit every type of lane. You know, from R&B to pop to club, but all for like the urban and American lane. You know what I mean?
And as you know, COVID-19 like has affected a lot of people, musicians especially. Did you have to cancel a lot of shows, or has it impacted your career?
Yeah, it has. I was supposed to be in Canada for the 5X festival. I was supposed to be in UK for the Mela. That was going to be my biggest show. I think it was like 100,000 people. I was supposed to go to India. So everything got canceled, but it's okay. You know, it gave me more time in the studio to work and create more content.
Yeah, that was my next question. Were you using that time to like just be in the studio? You know, a lot of people were just doing random things, I guess, you know, like gardening and all that stuff. And you were just in the studio creating music. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait to hear your new stuff, bro. Like, I'm such a big fan of you. And I'm like, you know, we did a song together, Senorita. What a banging song. I can't wait to get in the studio with you again. I think, you know, absolutely, you're just an incredible artist. I think you're so talented, you're so versatile, and yeah, I look forward to all the music videos, all the albums that you're gonna drop, bro. And you know, I'm a big fan out here from the UK. Yeah.
Likewise, brother. Likewise.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. And yeah, good luck with everything. And I'll speak to you soon, bro.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you for having me.
Take care, man.
Later, brother.
Let the people hear that voice. Damn, when you hear that name.
It was a proud moment for the Asian culture.
I just looked in the mirror and I accepted myself.
Yes. Please, I beg you, cut it out.